तदन्तर्गतम् पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोध समये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः माया कल्पित देश काल कलना वैचित्र्य चित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकमसत् कल्पार्थकं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यः साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भो निधौ तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नानाछिद्रघटोदरस्थितमहादीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुभाते तत्समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये देहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियाण्यपि चलान् बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः स्त्रीबालान्धजडोपमास्त्वहमिति भ्रान्ता वृषंवादिनः माया शक्ति विलास कल्पित महाव्यामोह संहारिणे तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये राहुग्रस्त दिवाकरेन्दु सदृशो माया समाच्छादनात् सन्मात्रकरणोपसंहरणतो योगोत्सुषुप्तः पुमान् प्रागस्वाप्समिति प्रबोध समये यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये बाल्यादिष्वपि जागृतादिषु तथा सर्वास्वस्थास्वपि व्यावृत्तास्वनुवर्तमानमहमित्यन्तः सदा स्वात्मानं प्रकटीकरोति भजतां यो मुद्रया भद्रया तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये विश्वं पश्यति कार्यकारणतया स्वस्वामि सम्बन्धतः शिष्याचार्यतया तथैव पितृपुत्राध्यात्मना भेदतः स्वप्ने जागृति वाय एष पुरुषो माया परिभ्रामितः तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये भूरम्भांस्यनलो नीलोऽम्बरम् अहर्नाथो हिमांशुः पुमान् इत्याभाति चराचरात्मकमिदं यस्यैव मूर्त्यष्टकम् अन्यत् किञ्चन विद्यते विमृशतां यस्मात् परस्मात् विभोः तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये सर्वात्मत्वमिति स्फुटीकृतमिदं यस्मादमुष्मिंस्तवे तेनास्य श्रवणात् तदर्थमननात् ध्यानात् च संकीर्तनात् सर्वात्मत्वमहाविभूति सहितं स्यादीश्वरत्वं स्वतः सिद्ध्येत पुनरष्टधा परिणतं च ऐश्वर्यमव्याहतम् सिद्ध्येत पुनरष्टधा परिणतं च ऐश्वर्यमव्याहतम् गीता ध्यानम् ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्ससुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पल शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण बर्हणि कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनीं सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरनदी कैवर्तककेशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पतैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिन श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न स्विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. We are now in chapter 4. Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. Atat Chaturthyodhyayah Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. That's the chapter name. We'll chant from verse number 17. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam. Bodhavyam cha vikarmanah. Bodhavyam cha vikarmanah. Akarmanascha bodhavyam. Akarmanascha bodhavyam. Gahana karmano gatihi. Gahana karmano gatihi. Full verse. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam. Bodhavyam cha vikarmanah. Akarmanascha bodhavyam. Gahana karmano gatihi. So the teacher says, I shall explain to you what is karma. Karmana api bodhavyam. I will also explain to you what is viparita karma, vikarmana, what is not to be done, what is to be done, what is not to be done. A student asks a question. Why should instruction be what is to be done, what is not? Why not let people decide on that? If it was done like that, it would be a defect in creation. For instance, I design a car which runs at a speed of about 350 kilometers per hour. But there is no gear and brake system. What would the car manufacturing company do? Call it back. You know why? There is no gear and no brake. It's an inbuilt defense mechanism. You have a faculty of choice. You can choose to do. You can choose not to do. You can choose to do differently. You can choose to do what is appropriate. You can choose to do what is not appropriate. You can avoid doing what is to be done. And you can do what is not to be done. And the human intellect is so intelligent, if you can call it that, I don't know if that is intelligent, can justify why it was done. And why did you hit? Why did he hit? Why don't you stop? Ask him to stop first. There is no end to this argument. And then the teacher says, I will tell you what is karma, what is viparita karma, and above all, I will also tell you what is actionlessness. Actionlessness is not physical restraint of action. Actionlessness is in the knowledge that I, the subject, the knower, does not do any action whatsoever. Actions happen in the realm of the roles. The roles are blessed by my mere presence. Actions happen in the roles. The results of the action accrue to the roles. I, the being, conscious being, stands apart. I am not affected. A simple example of I playing roles on stage, in movies, whatever. I act. I act as so and so. The role can be criticized. The person can be put to death. The role hanged, glorified. I, the actor, look at all that and smile. In fact, there are occasions where the role player says, you know something, I enjoy all these tragic roles very much. I asked one of those actors, why do you enjoy all this? He says, that's one place, I can act unhappy without being unhappy. What an explanation. I can act as the most miserable person going through some of the worst situations in life. The only person who goes through all this. But while we're doing this inside, I am free. I am not touched by the sorrow of the role. So I shall teach you this. And having known this, you will get proper gati. Okay? Gati means speed, goal, everything. Gati. We say, like they are, what is my gati? So what happens to me? There was a novel I once read. What happens to me? And they sometimes people cry. I am left nirgati. I don't know what to do. I have been left without a goal. Sometimes it has happened. You've seen it all happen. Right? One person, a spouse leaves in the sense, life cycle is over. The surviving spouse says, you have left me nirgati. He says, after listening to this, you will understand what is gati properly. Okay. Then he says in verse number 18, Karmanya karmayah pashyet akarmani cha karmayah karmanya karmayah pashyet akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manusheshu sayukta krishna karma kriti. Some loaded words here. Karmani, akarma, yaf pashyet, one who sees. Actionlessness in action. One who sees in actionlessness a lot of action. See how words are being played. In action, you see inaction. And in inaction, you see action. Okay? Such a person is buddhiman. He alone lives intelligently among people. Buddhiman, manukshiyeshu. Saha yuktaha. He is a yogi. He understands, he insightfully understands things. He understands how things work. He is a Krishna karma kriti. He has accomplished all that is required to be accomplished. This is the teacher says, and he talks about you and me. So let's first look at the word yukta. Who is a yukta? Who is a person who is a yogi? One whose knowledge is clear. Yukta is one who understands, who is clear about what he is doing. One who has clarity. Yukta. Yukta Purush. And if you have this insightful knowledge, you are also a Buddhiman. Okay. So who is this Yukta? Is very beautifully explained by the teacher. It's drawn from the previous 3 chapters and also from Vedic Upanishadic teachings. There are 4 important stages, very important stages in our lives. Stage 1, you should have a value for knowledge. We have value for knowledge, yes. We have value for knowledge of the world of objects, people, situations. We would like to know everything possible to know about Artha Kama and bettering my life economically, technologically, in terms of convenience. I know the value of that knowledge. There's no doubt there. Very often people say, no? Some people even, especially when we are into this subject, people ask us. I was sharing thoughts on this subject even when I was working. So once a gentleman asked me, sir, why do you do all this? I said, why do you do what? No, you're teaching Bhagavad Gita and all this. What do you do otherwise? So I told him I'm employed. I'm a senior official in a very important institution. I'm in charge of about 14 districts. I'm a married man with a happy family. I live comfortably. He said, then why are you doing all this? I said, what do you mean, why am I doing all this? So, knowledge of Artha Kama is all right. But that I was teaching Gita, not teaching, sharing knowledge of Gita, of what I understand. It is only insightful understanding. I only try to nididhyasam. I don't teach it. I'm only trying to understand things myself. I'm thinking loudly. And in the process, some of you are benefited. If you are benefited, you should have. If you are not benefited, perhaps it's my problem because I have not expressed things clearly. If you understood, if you benefit, it's teachers, it's gurus clearly. So I'm only sharing this. I said, why are you doing all this? You are successful. And I didn't know how to answer that person. I told him, perhaps, and nothing else to do. But I've been told even my own family, you're wasting time. You should better do something else. In my opinion, you should stop teaching. You should not teach anymore. There are so many people who say this. Own family members. So that's not a big thing. That essentially happens because we all have value for knowledge of Artha Kama. But a very important stage is when you have value for knowledge of Dharma. My Artha Kama pursuit must be aligned with Dharma. My Artha Kama pursuit must be for the sake of Dharma. If it is not so, understand all your knowledge for Artha Kama pursuit is waste. It only produces strife, conflict, tension. It cannot give you. Rubbing Dharma will never give you happiness. Not this generation, no generation. No generation. Quick look at history. Some couple of people stopped attending my classes because I talked a little bit of Bharatavarsha history. They possibly thought I have carrying on the agenda of some political parties. So I think some people have stopped it. It doesn't matter. We should know the truth. You know about the great Mughal family. You say, no, what you do hurts 7 generations down the line. Yeah. Go read the history of Aurangzeb. 1707. Read what happened to his family. 1857. Yeah, I'll try to increase the volume. Yes, sure. The volume is at its maximum. I think I'll have to speak a little louder. If you know, is it okay now, Sukanya? I'll speak a little loud.
Yeah, I think a little louder, Mohanji.
Yeah, I think I'll have to speak louder because the system is okay. I'll have to speak louder. Is it okay now?
It's better.
Okay. I'll maybe keep it a little closer. Yeah. Or perhaps I'll have to use it. So,
உங்க வீடியோ மட்டும் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிருங்க
சார். Sure. Yeah. So what happened? Yeah. Now it's okay? Yeah. So, we say, you rub dharma, you will get rubbed. I'm talking about a Mughal emperor. 1707, I think he passed away. A Mughal emperor called Aurangzeb. Read what happened to his 7th generation in 1857. His great grandson, I think. Bahadur Shah Zafar was exiled to Burma. Both sons were shot dead. And the head was brought to him by the British. They said, we have got something for you, emperor. And they moved the cover and showed him the heads of the sons. He had 22 sons and 32 daughters. That's what history says. I don't know. He had nothing else to do, I think. So, you rub dharma, dharma will rub you. There is no escape. There is no escape from rubbing dharma. If the world is going through strife, it is because they rubbed dharma the wrong way. You rub dharma, you will be rubbed. If not now, later. You align with dharma, dharma will protect you. So, value for knowledge of dharma and moksha. What is it that gives you happiness for good? See, there are certain universal things all of us want, whichever, if you are born a human being anywhere in the world, from Lapland se leke Antarctica, you ask these questions to them. Would you like to live? Would you like to live healthy? Would you like to live happily? Would you like to live without conflict? Would you like to live without being harmed? Would you like to live without fear? Would you like the well-being of your family, welfare, kin? Tell me one person who will say no. This is dharma. Dharma is universal. And artha kama has to be aligned with dharma. Only then it is artha shastra. Otherwise, I don't know what shastra is. Okay. Then comes moksha. Moksha is for the slightly more inquiry-oriented person. I live dharma, I live this. Is there something else to my life? Because even while aligning myself to dharma, I can't avoid certain unpleasantness in life. I want none of my kith and kin harm, but they do get, even if no enemy comes, some fall sick, some die. My wealth otherwise disappears, and natural disasters, they do happen. I find myself unhappy. That comes from a certain seeking, and that freedom from that I am unhappy, that events and things like that are not an entire my well-being, sense of well-being depends upon the external situation, and I have to be free from that dependence on external situation is called moksha. Freedom from situations, people, and the external infrastructure to see the happy person in me. That is called moksha. I should have value for that knowledge. So stage number 1. Then comes, once you have value for the knowledge, the second stage is the reality. What is the reality? I am the knower. Brahma, Atma. I know. Okay. So the second stage is knowing that there is a conscious factor, principle functioning in me, and that is called Atma. So I want to be free, I want to be happy, knowledge. It is possible when I know the Atma. Then I want to be limitlessly happy when I know the Atma. And that conscious principle called Atma is within me. Second stage. Third stage. That Atma within me, which is within me, is actually not within me, which is me. That is the real me. And that real I is to be known, not gained like that. It is to be gained cognitively. Not only should I know it, I should own it up. Simple example of a king who conspiracy. He lost his kingdom, lost his life, lost his family. The nurse saved the prince, sacrificed her child, saved the prince and went up. And when her lifetime got over, she handed over, even when she was running away, she got hurt and she knew she would not survive. She gave the young prince away to a tribal chief and said, protect this guy. And she also died. This young prince grew up, lived like a tribal, climbing trees, swinging from branch to branch. He lived like that. One minister who was aware that definitely the prince is not dead, went in search, found the prince. Now, what has he got to do to become the prince? Once a Yuvaraja, always a Yuvaraja. He does not have to become the prince. He has to know that he is the prince. And he cannot stumble upon himself as the prince. It is revealed to him by this minister that he is the prince. He says, oh, I must be the prince. It is not you must be the prince. That is second stage. The third stage is you are the prince. He says, oh, I am the prince. Now comes the owning up. He has been jumping from branch to branch, eating food, bathing once in 6 months and things like that, and living a life like that, conducive to a forest. Now he has to come and live in a palace. He has to live the life of a prince and royal grandeur. You know your Atma. You have to own up and live like your Atma. That is the third stage. I am that Atma. Claim that. And that is called Nididhyasana. Then comes a fourth stage. When that I am Atma and I abide in that knowledge spontaneously. I don't have to remind myself. And spontaneously the Atma. Just like we said in the Bhagavad Gita in the Dakshinamurti. So, Deham pranam apindriyan yapichalan buddhim cha shunyam viduhu Sri Balan the Jadopama Anditim Branta Vrishamvad Just as I know I am a man, I am this, I am that, I am father, I am mother. I don't have to be reminded I am father of so and so. I don't have to be reminded I am husband of so and so. When I open my eyes and I see my wife, I'm spontaneously husband. Imagine she has to tell me, hello sir, good morning, do you remember me? What a condition. A child walks into the room, I say, Kone? You don't know? This is a child of your probably. Or is it so? What a condition. You don't have to be reminded about the various roles you play. In the same way, the fourth stage is when you know you are, had, and live life abiding in that knowledge and response to the world as Atma becomes spontaneous. That's the first stage. In and through all my interactions, in and through all my role playing, I don't forget the fact that Aham Brahmasmi. I don't forget this truth. This is the first stage. If you have reached the fourth stage, he says such a person is a yukta. Even if you are approaching the fourth stage, you are yukta. If you deliberately live that life, you are a yukta. Okay. If you know you are Atma, you are yukta. You have Atma, you are. If you think value for moksha, you are a yukta. So don't think that I have to wait and it may take so many generations. You have value for Sahatma Vidya, you have value for moksha, you are yukta. Now you just have to live that life and deliberate. And in due course, the deliberateness will become spontaneous. You can do whatever you like. You can have a calendar and mark off. These are the things I did every day. You can write down, this is how I live my life. Someday, you're not going to need that. You're not going to need all this. I don't need them. You have got into it. So, I also know. And then such a person is abiding in the knowledge. He is called Jnana Nishtha. Nishtha means you abide in the knowledge. In such a thing, there are certain facts which are known to you. If you don't know spontaneously, it doesn't matter. At least know them deliberately. Especially know them when you are going through crisis. That's good enough. What is that? I play roles. I am not the role. I play roles. All roles are variable and relative. Remember that. I am the employee of an institution as long as I am employed there. Once I leave, I am an ex-employee. You are a citizen of India as long as you hold Indian passport. Once you leave India, you are no longer Indian. You are the passport holder of a different country. Relative. You may call, I was an Indian, I am a non-resident. You can have all this. If you are Vyavahara, you can have all these things. These are relative. All these are relative. So, all roles are variable. All roles are relative. Let me give you another very strong punch. Okay? Brace yourself to take this blow. You are not even a human being. Huh? You are not even a human being. You are a conscious being which has a human body. With reference to the body, you are a human being. Hey, nobody says this. Nobody. Everybody says you are a papi. You have to atone, obey God, pray God, go reach Him. It's okay. Chalta hai. You are a human being from the standpoint of Sharira. Powerful punch. Okay. This constant awareness can be deliberate. It can be Vyavahara, Rupa, Nididhyasana. We'll see all this in the next few chapters. Ishvara Kripa, Guru Kripa, Ishvara Anugraha, we will Shastra Kripa, we will complete all this. It's not a human endeavor. It is Guru's Kripa, it is Ishvara Anugraha. We will complete all this. From the standpoint of Sharira, I am a human being. When I step back, I am a being, a conscious being, which functions through the human body. Now there is a paradigm shift in everything that happens around me. I am a yukta, I am a buddhiman. I see the conscious being, actionlessness, mere presence. And the mere presence, all actions happen. Karmani, yaha, okay, akarma paschit. Then the roles, various roles. They are sometimes physically inactive. Why sometimes? Every day, let's say from 10 to 6, you are physically inactive. Actionlessness. Are you really actionless? Digestion takes place. Heartbeat takes place. Breathing takes place. Changes, modification, biological changes take place. Some hair goes gray, some hair fall off. Okay, something grows. Okay, something happens to you. Karmani, karma yaf paschyat. Let's look at a pregnant woman. She is doing nothing. A lot of karma is happening inside. If you feel, you can feel the heartbeat. Karmani, akarma yaf paschet, akarmani cha karma yaf paschet. So buddhiman manushya, he has insight. Why is he saying this? He is saying this because Arjun was claiming that I am doing papa karma, papa will accrue to me. I am doing papa karma, as it is I am suffering, I am doing more papa, I will get more papa. How can I kill this fellow? How can, if I kill my grandfather, I will live in remorse and regret. My victory will be bloodstained. Therefore, I will not. Krishna says, hey Arjun, step back. Arjuna, grandson of Bhishma, is a role. Arjuna, student of Dronacharya, is a role. Kurukshetra is an event. Kurukshetra Yuddha is an event. Your property has been usurped is an event. And certain wrongs, if they are not corrected by the Sreshta Purusha, they will get ingrained in the society. The society, ill in the society survives because the people who are dharma oriented remain quiet. There's a lot of violence there next door. And this person says, at least you can ask a question, why violence? You can at least call up someone, write a letter at least. Nowadays you have that in, what is that? You have that social media platform in which you can post. Why so much violence? Like somebody posted today. But posting there and doing nothing, at least posting there is okay, some action. There is a lot of power fluctuation in the area. The person puts an elaborate video post. And a lot of people from USA tell them, yes, 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 well said, well said, well said. So I said, apart from saying, all this, at least you need to write to the electricity authorities. That is more constructive action. Or are you going to rant and forget about it? So when somebody does something wrong, the silence of a person who knows it is wrong is even more harmful. Okay, so Krishna says to Arjuna, if you don't, it is a dharma yuddha. Your property has been usurped. And you were told to come back in 13 years, we will give you back. The Raja is not doing anything about it. Somebody has, made the Raja silent, and he has usurped the Raja's powers and living sheer high-handedness. And the scholars in that government are not able to talk about this high-handedness. You have to do something about it. If you don't do, that is adharma. If you don't do what is required to be done, that is adharma. And when you play the role with the knowledge that you are playing the role and that you stand apart, the problems of the role, the pain of the role will remain contained in the role. Please understand, Krishna doesn't say if you kill Bhishma, that you will not feel pain. You will not kill him and rejoice, Ayya, I killed. That's not what will happen. You will face pain. You will also have a little bit of hurt and guilt. Why did Bhishma? That was hurt. Now, why did Bhishma support that? All this will be there. But who is a Yukta Purusha? If you are a Yukta Purusha, what will happen? These things will not have the power to sink their teeth into you. They will not make you permanently a miserable person. It is called FIR management. Hey, even when you hit a mosquito, you feel bad about it. If it bites, you hit, but later on when you brush away, you feel bad about it. But it doesn't stay for long. The same way. You've killed Bhishma, you definitely feel bad. Arjuna felt very bad about it. But he doesn't take himself to be guilty. I am not a papi. There was something wrong, I had to do it. There's a guy who has been given a death sentence. The judge has passed the death sentence. He shall be hanged by the neck till death. Who will carry out this death sentence? There is a fellow called a hangman. He knows the art of putting the knot in the noose, putting it in the correct place. And then when he pulls the lever, it falls. You know what happens? They say, they read the story. I read about the first person account of a hangman. He says, for the next few days, I can't sleep. He has to forget that. It is very difficult to see a man die in front of you. It's not easy. But what is his inner thought? I am not doing it. I have been ordered by a judge to do it. So such a person is free from. So when you have to do something, you have to take an action to correct something. There is bound to be pain. But if you are able to intelligently stand apart, the pain will not sink its teeth in you. It becomes a defanged serpent. It doesn't affect you. Doesn't affect you means it's not that you are a callous, indifferent person. It doesn't drag you down. It doesn't drag you down. A medicine man, a surgeon has to amputate an organ. Sometimes when children, they have to deliver a child, the doctor has to take a decision. I can save one life. I prefer to save the mother rather than the child. The doctor is not happy about doing it. But he knows it's a role which I have to play, especially when it comes to unpleasant situations. When it comes to crisis, stepping back into the Sakshi and seeing the role responsibility, what is appropriate and what is to be done. Such a person is a Yukta Purusha. Such a person is a Buddhiman. And he is Krishna Karma Kriti. He is a truly accomplished person. You know, what is our definition of an accomplished person? Hey, what is it that you have done nothing in life? Somebody asks. Much. And many of these, I have faced these questions myself. I have faced these questions myself. There was a relative in the family. And I was telling him that this is what I do. I'm in charge of about 14 districts in Western Maharashtra. He says, Maharashtra. You know, it's a Mahalakshmi Kshetra. I said, yeah, I know it's Mahalakshmi Kshetra and it is a Siddhi Vinayaka Kshetra. It blesses you with prosperity. He says, you are in charge of 14 districts. I said, yes, I'm in charge of 14. Yet you are like this. I said, what do you mean? He said, in your position, I would have had a house in every town in India. That's his yardstick of accomplishment. You just forget about every town in India. You should have had a piece of land in each of the districts over which you have control. You are administrative in charge of 14 districts. You will have some landed property in 14 districts. Sir, why have you not done something, sir? I am a clerk in your office. I have put together 27 houses in India. A fellow came and told me. I said, how did you do it? He said, sir, I have ridden only cycle in my house, in my life. I've never even got into a bus. And the institution used to give a token for how much? 5 rupees or something for a meal. He said, I spend only 5 rupees per meal per day. That is life. And it's called accomplishment because he has 27 houses. Even after retirement, he still goes to the institution and says, hey, give me 5 rupees here. I want to eat. He's retired 20 years ago. And this is accomplishment. Why do we accomplish? Good. Because I know I am, but I don't know what I am. I take myself to be other than what I am. And this inner lack is not okay with me. I want to overcome this inner lack. How? By artha kama pursuit, by permutations, combinations, arrangements and rearrangements of the external. It gives me a certain element of the mind which keeps telling me, munu. It's a very beautiful Tamil word. People who understand Tamil. Who doesn't? Yeah. Doctor and Surya perhaps don't know understand much Tamil. In Tamil, there is a word called munu. Munu means, muttering under your breath. It happens. In family life, it happens. The husband is a very aggressive guy. The wife, can't fight him. So what she will do? What are you saying? No, I'm not telling anything. No. This fellow is called a murumurutal. One who mutters under the breath lifelong. A side point, she doesn't know the damage she is causing to the man there. All his confidence it reduces, and at the age of 70, he becomes very useless. Not Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So Murumuruttan is a fellow never happy with himself. You log in, it doesn't like. Kya yaar login nahi, net kaam nahi karta. If net kaam karta hai, तो it is very slow. The fellow constant murumuruttan. So this happens inside, chattering inside, you're not okay, you're not okay. So when you have some external rearrangement, this you don't listen to this anymore because the applause of the external drowns that. Now you have social media platforms, you can do lots of Look at half the post there is only ranting. Ranting. The external, the ranting, is not heard. Once the applause died on, it starts again. And you think that quietening the is your accomplishment. He says, oh, sorry. Krishna karma kriti. From the standpoint of Atma, you have to do nothing to feel, know, that you are a fulfilled being. Okay? From the standpoint of the role, you can never do anything to become a fulfilled person. Very careful with the words. From the standpoint of Atma, I know I don't need to do anything to be a fulfilled person. The sugar cube does not need to do anything to become sweet. The sugar cube is sweet. The sugar cube, the small formed cube, cannot become sweeter by doing anything. Whatever it does, it will find somebody sweeter. There'll always be aage piche. From the standpoint of the role, you can never do anything to become full. From the standpoint of Atma, I don't have to do anything to become full. If you do, you are a fool. Kritsna Kriti. I know I am a whole, conscious, complete being, lacking nothing. The roles have to play their roles. The roles will have pleasant and unpleasant. Unpleasant will give them unpleasant situations, unpleasant feelings. Pleasant will give them pleasant feelings. They are all finite. Life is a mixture of finite and unfinite. Of finite, pleasant and unpleasant. If I learn to live intelligently, the pleasant, unpleasant situations remaining the same, I can peacefully navigate. I don't have to wish away the icebergs. I only have to see that I don't crash it. That's a problem with Titanic. He wanted it. I cannot sink the Titanic thing. You can't wish away the icebergs. You have to be smart enough to know. Sotirna khalu pandavaihi rananadi. What was the rananadi? Bhishma Dona Tata Jayadratha Jala Gandhara Nilotpala Shalya Grahavati Kripena Vahani Karnena Velakula Ashwathama Vikarna Gora Makara. How did they cross? Uttirana, they crossed. Khalu Pandavaihi, made the Pandavas. Kaivartaka Keshava. Keshava stands for the Buddhi. Pasarathi stands for the Buddhi. Mindful living, intelligent living. They crossed the Rana Nadi. Life is a Rana Nadi. You have to cross it. This is a nice song, no? You would have heard. जिंदगी प्यार का गीत है, जिंदगी गम का सागर भी है. हाँ, दोनों है. So it is intelligent living. How do you bring intelligently? Bring Ishvara into the life. We'll see that in our later chapters. And such a person is a Krishna Kriti. This I have to take such time to explain. It is not explaining, reflecting. My teacher explained this for so many more days. I cannot cut short and do that. Okay. Now, let's go to the next verse, 19. 19 says, so what are the words here? Remember these words. Okay. Karmanya. Karmanya. Karma yes paschet. Karmanicha. Akarmanicha karmaya. Sabuddhiman manushyechu sayukta sakritsna krite. Do change it. Do vyavahara nididhyasam. You say, aham buddhiman. Don't say I'm more intelligent than you. Say aham buddhiman. Aham yukta. I am a person who has clarity of vision. I am a buddhiman. I live. Don't say I'm going to live intelligently. I live intelligently. That's how you make Bhagavad Gita work for you. That's the only way Bhagavad Gita will work for you. Otherwise, yeah, I've completed 18 chapters. So what are you doing? You're starting from chapter 1 all over again. I asked him, what for? After completing class 12, you will go back to class 1. How about that? It doesn't work like that, okay? So that's why I look at verse number 9. Yasya sarve samarambha. Yasya sarve samarambha. Kama sankalpa varchitaha. Kama sankalpa varchitaha. Jnanagni dagda karmanam. Jnanagni dagda karmanam. Karmanam. Tamahu panditam buddhaha. Tamahu panditam buddhaha. So, whole verse. Yasya sarve samarambhaha. Kama sankalpa varjitaha. Jnanagni dagda karmanam. Panditam. Tamahu panditam buddhaha. Okay. So, yasya. One. Serve all karmas, sarve. Samarambha, all that is required to be done. Don't tell me I don't know what's all required to be done. You are intelligent enough to know what is required to be done. You play various roles. You know what role, every role you require to do in every role. Don't say you don't know. The script is known to you. Perhaps you don't know it indeed. You need a prompter because you've forgotten the lines here. If somebody says, I don't know what to do, it's possibly he knows what to do, but he is not sure what is to be done now or how to. No, I don't know what. I don't know what. I have a problem. You have to solve it. What is the problem? No problem. Some problem which I can speak about. If you can't speak about the problem, then silently solve the problem. No, I have to share. Then I don't feel comfortable sharing. Then go to a professional. I want to talk to you, but I can't tell you anything. Hey, kya hai? Because dharma sankata. Put yourself into problem, put me also into. There's choice. There are certain life cases which happen. Without taking the person's name, I'll have to tell you. Person is not unhappy. Person is very unhappy in the married life. The real one, very young person. Does not have, the lady does not have an independent source of income. Sir, what do I do, sir? Seek professional counsel. What does Bhagavad Gita say? Bhagavad Gita says, do what is proper. Live intelligent. Beyond this, I don't know how to do this. I said, write your script and see. But how would the script be written? I don't have an independent source of income. My parents cannot support me. So what do I do? Learn to live with this person. If you can't live the person, take legal action. Ask this person to pay maintenance. Oh, what will society say? What? Yes, yeah. What is required to be done? Everybody knows a script. And how should you do that? These are not advice, okay? These are statements of fact. If you do like this, this is what will happen. Kama sankalpa varjita. You are free from the pressure of kama sankalpa. What is this pressure of kama sankalpa? It is a desire. Unless I fulfill that desire, I won't be a happy person. Kama sankalpa varjita. You are under the pressure of kama sankalpa. Unless I do this, I will not be happy. You are under kama sankalpa. You are under pressure. And who has created that pressure? You have created the pressure yourself. Yes, nobody may create it. I can't do without it. Oh, you have created pressure for yourself. If you do what is required to be done, free from this pressure. with the knowledge that there are some decisions to be taken. Decisions will have outcomes. Outcomes will be pleasant, unpleasant, indifferent. Pleasant will is something I look forward to. Unpleasant is something I don't want. This is how you think. Hey, whatever happens, that is fatalistic. It doesn't work that way. Pleasant is something I want. Unpleasant is something I don't want. Let me do my best to avoid the unpleasant. If in spite of that the unpleasant comes, let me not be shaken. Kama sankalpa varjita. Oh Lord, give me the strength not to be shaken by things in case it happens. Let me not get agitated. Kama sankalpa varjita. If you do like that, what happens? Okay, the pressure of jnana agni dagda, it gets burnt. The pressure gets burnt in the jnana agni. The pressure is burnt as though. Okay, and such a person is called. What is he called? He is called a. So we'll have to do this very elaborately. Much. There a lot more to be done here. Such a person is called. Okay. Such a person is called a pandita, a qualified. Such a person is a pandita. Who says? Wise people. Wise people say, call this person a pandita. Other wise people call you wise. I am not working for the sake of wisdom. I am playing roles. I have to play roles. There is no escape from roles. I play roles knowing that I, the Atma, Sakshi, am witness to the role. The role has script. I have to do what is appropriate. If it is inappropriate, the problems will be there. There is no doubt about it. That is vikarma, viparita karma. That kind of, even viparita karma will give you some kind of happiness. But the pain will last for, I don't know how long. 7 generations. Viparita karma. Even when I do proper karma, I will have a mixture of punya, papa, pleasant and unpleasant. It is not that I welcome the unpleasant. What is it I want? I want pleasant. I want to retain the pleasant. I want to avoid the unpleasant. And I want to give away the unpleasant. I want to remove the unpleasant from my life. This is normal. But knowing this is normal and knowing that I don't have total control over this situation is intelligent living. That's what he says. And such a person is called a pandita, a wise person. What did he say in verse 2? In chapter 2, he says, Asochananda sochastvam pragyavadancha bhashasi. You are grieving over things which do not require grief, yet talk like a wise man. Here says, if you know how to handle grief, you are a wise man. We will stop at this point of time. With Guru Kripa, Ishvara Anugraha, Shastra Kripa, Atma Kripa. We will continue in our next session. Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahisha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Shobarahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhaya Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhavet Asatoma Satgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritangamaya, Om Purnamidam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadasya Udachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Hari Om. सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय, स्वामी दयानंद महाराज की जय, सब संतों की जय, पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय हो, बजरंग बली की जय हो, जय. See, in the initial stages, we used to have a question answer session at the end of the session. We have not been able to do it, but never mind. If you have questions, we have the group platform. If you are people who are in the group, can put it in the group. You can ask me the question either as a voice or as a key there. If you don't want to put it in the group, you can send it to me as a personal inbox, because sometimes, you know, there are issues which you may not want to raise in front of everybody. But I still give you a small clue. If you want to raise a personal issue which you don't want to know you are one of the affected parties, you can always say a friend I know has a problem, so I know how to answer that question. Or you can also always personal inbox me into my WhatsApp or a voicemail. Or you want my email ID, rbi.mohan@gmail.com. You can send it to me. I will either answer the question directly to you one-to-one. I will also give general solutions, not solutions. I will try to answer these questions generally in the class. What requires personal attention, I will, with Guru Kripa, Ishwara Anugraha, I will try to answer personally. May you all have a wonderful week. May Ishvara come into your life. Jai.